Folks, if you listen to this show, you know that I am obsessed with Me Undies. I now have like 5 pairs, and they are my favorite underwear I own. So right now, as a listener of So Bad It's Good, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at meundies.com/sobad and enter promo code SOBAD. That's meundies.com/sobad, promo code SOBAD for up to 50% off. MeUndies, comfort that's made for fall. Folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good. It is the beginning of yet another week. Yeah, we have to do this all over again, but hopefully we can actually make your day a little brighter. And I was joking last week that I have a podcast war with Sophie. I wish I could say that was true, but she is not here. I didn't fire her or anything. She actually just has family commitments. So I got an even better guest than Sophie. I got 2 better guests than Sophie. Oh my God, I couldn't believe they said yes. It is our old friends. They have Comments by Celebs, the podcast, the Instagram accounts. I'm hoping there's a cookbook somewhere eventually in an album. We'll see. But from Comments by Celebs, we've got Emma and Julie. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. I love your introductions. They always get me so hyped.
I could really spend the full hour doing the introduction, and I always joke that that's really as good as it's going to get, but I don't think so, because I was looking forward to talking to you guys so much this weekend, and I got a little nervous. I was like, I'm getting nervous, actually, which is a good thing. Just to catch up the audience, what did you guys spend your weekend doing? Because you're both in New York, right?
Yes, we are both in New York. We actually had off from the podcast this last week, so it was super
What's
super
it like
chill.
taking time off from a podcast? I've never done that, I think, in 6 years.
Well,
I
don't know if you feel like this, but we feel like pop culture has been a little bit slow the last month. So it was kind of nice to have the week so that we got the Keith Urban, we got the Kardashians trailer. Like we had some time for things to build, you know?
Do you agree, Julie?
Oh my God. I mean, listen, we always say that we love being off until the slightest thing happens. And then we're like, get us our mics. We have to start recording. And so I agree, because I'm so excited to get on, talk about the Kardashian trailer, talk about Keith and Nicole, because that one really shook me. But, to let it build a little bit and have a lot to come back to is never a bad thing.
Well, it feels like it has come back so strong within this last week, to your point, not only with general pop culture, but Bravo is speeding up. And, I was listening to one of your episodes, and I think one of you made the point of it really is, we are being assaulted these days with demands on our attention from every sort of streaming service. It's like Love is Blind just released a new season over the weekend on Netflix. Like, it really is so competitive on where we choose to spend our attention, and it's starting to get stressful. Do you ever get stressed just keeping up with the demands of pop culture?
There's a lot to consume, there is a lot to consume. And I think that for me, I find a lot of liberation in really just making peace with the fact that I'll never consume it all. There are going to have to be times in conversations where I just say, I'm actually not up on that. And it feels
loser.
scary. But
we got a loser here, folks. Somebody that gave up. Your dad raised a quitter. Are you kidding me?
I mean, honestly, though, thank God for TikTok, because I didn't watch this season of Love is Blind. However, I'm up on the Casey Patrick situation or whatever their names are,
TikTok is really the saving grace of keeping up on pop culture.
Well, is it the saving grace, or is it taking dedicated time we could be spending actually watching the shows, and now we're watching it? Because I do the same thing. I am spending so much time on TikTok. As an older man, that already has a deep shame associated with it, but I will just spend hours will just fly by, and then I'm like, oh my God, I was supposed to be asleep, and I'm watching the 10th video on Taylor Swift's new album, and it's like a drug. It truly is a drug.
It truly is a drug. And you know what? I am addicted.
You got any TikTok? You got any TikTok from you? By the way, Emma is wearing a Nicolandria shirt, which I own as well. And I think we both got ours from TikTok Shop.
We did.
That's what they do. 2 a.m. and you're making bad decisions. Like, I'm not even drinking. And I was like, I got to have the shirt.
Oh no, we are sitting ducks for that type of advertising.
No, I'm
Uh,
a TikTok shop sucker. I have a vibrating plate that I got in my apartment right now because I saw a TikTok about
oh,
draining
where
your
you
lymphatic
stand on
system.
it. Oh my God. You know what? Mama June from Honey Boo Boo and Mama June has one of those as well. I interviewed her and she was very proud about her vibrating plates. Um, you cover a lot of the Kardashians. You recap old episodes. You'll do the new season. I'm guessing, which is season 7. And I think it's an interesting conversation to be had because I feel like this has been the longest in between seasons that we've had of the Kardashians because I don't remember when season 6 came out. When was it?
Let's look that up.
Let's look that up. That's a really good question. I couldn't tell you exactly when. It does. I'll tell you that just as a Kardashian fan, as a lifelong Kardashian fan, it does feel like a really long time. And I think that's partially because if we're being totally honest, other than Timothy and Kylie, it's been pretty quiet. Like they're
No.
not making major waves right now, which is okay. We can be patient, but it does kind of feel like that. What are you going to say, Julie? When is it?
When was it,
So
Julie?
it actually, the last episode was April 2025.
It feels like it's been so much longer than that.
It does, but I'm telling you, it's because we're in a little bit of a lull.
I think Julie froze up for a second, but April 2025 was when our last episode of season 6, and now season 7's coming up like October 23rd, I think, on
Mhm.
Hulu. And are they releasing all episodes, or are they going to do week to week?
I think it's going to be a week to week.
Okay, week to week. Now, okay, so it's weird. April 2025 was the last we got of season 6, and season 7 comes out in October, but it feels like such a longer period of time for some reason. And I was almost thinking, like, wow, they went away for a long time and now are coming back. And I feel like it's an uphill battle when you go away for a period of time in pop culture. But with the Kardashians, they're so firmly established. I was watching the trailer for season 7, and I think a lot of there's a lot of people that somehow not have fully checked out on the Kardashians, but it's not like it once was in terms of their reality show because there's so much reality. What were the bright spots on the season 7 trailer for you guys?
I mean, listen, number one for me, hands down, not even a question, was the return of Rob, which they had been teasing. I mean, Kim has teased this for us a little bit in press. We saw her talk about that at the Nike Skims launch, I believe. But to really see Rob in the flesh, I mean, as
They,
in,
they treat him like he's Bigfoot. Like, he actually exists. Oh my God.
well, but by the way, when he was on there, Chloe did a podcast episode, a couple months ago, where he called in. He wasn't on camera, but he called in and they talked about him filming. And he said it's not that he doesn't like it. It's not that he's opposed to it. It's just that he's not going to do it until he feels comfortable in his skin, and he doesn't feel that. And so he made it very clear that when you see him, it's going to be because he feels comfortable to do so. So honestly, as a, someone who's been watching the Kardashians for how many years, there was something almost like heartwarming about that. Did you feel that way, Julie?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we always say when it comes to Rob is that we were on such a journey with him in the beginning. I mean, when he first started out, the first early seasons of Kardashians, he was just a part of the show. There was kind of no separation between him and the rest of the family. And then as Kardashians progressed, we saw him really go through a difficult time. And what ended up being the case with the Kardashians is that they kind of refocused the show to make it about just the women in the family. So his absence felt glaring, but also felt like something that we had gotten used to, and also was a part of kind of the marketing of the show. Like, it was a family of these very powerful women. It also was why it made sense when Scott kind of took a backseat in the reboot of the Kardashians. It was like, okay, this is about the women. But I feel what we feel with Rob is like we were so a part of that journey. And so it feels like kind of a chapter that was left unfinished. And so everyone, I think, for a while has been like, what's the deal with Rob? How is he doing? What is the update? What is his role in the family now? And so I think to even get a glimpse at that and
Yeah.
see him in a trailer makes us feel like we're getting a little bit closer to getting those questions answered.
I'll always remember, that when Kim and Kanye got married, and remember he flew home early, and because people were taking his picture and he was really uncomfortable. And I just thought, wow, I mean, to be on TV at maybe what some people considered his prime or Dancing with the Stars era Rob, and then to gain weight as we all do. I mean, that is really glaring in a family that is all about some sort of like aspirational beauty in a sense. Like, I really think that has to do a number on your mind. And I always wonder, like, I would love to have the real conversation with him. And I sometimes don't know if these episodes, I mean, it would be fascinating to hear him speak about this on the reality show. Like I always said, if they really focused on everything real in their lives, they would win the Emmy for best reality television show every year, because there's not been such a family that is raised to such billionaire heights as them. But, it's obviously controlled to a degree, because we also have, yeah, baby, it's me, Caitlyn. They got me back, baby. Like, I love that Caitlyn, the lead up on the trailer was Chris doesn't invite her to enough events, and Kendall's upset about it because that's her dad. And then we see Caitlyn puttering around in front of the door. And I was like, wow, is this just one episode with Caitlyn, or will Caitlyn pop up multiple times in this season?
I don't know, but that was a big deal. I mean, the joke on Twitter is like, oh, Caitlyn and Rob in the same trailer, major recession indicator.
We are down bad, folks. We are down bad.
I mean, listen, what Kylie's not going to talk about Timothy / we're never going to get a glimpse of Timothy. I mean, I hate to say never, because I would love to put into the universe that we are, but realistically, it feels unlikely. And not that I subscribe to this or believe this at all. However, the last couple of months, there certainly have been a lot of rumors about a potential Chris and Corey breakup situation. Again, I do not believe that.
Do you know any dirt, guys? Because I've talked about this a couple times in the last month.
No, I mean, I don't believe it to be true. But I don't believe that Chris would even talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
Do you?
That would, no, it would be kept deep under wraps. But like, I don't know, it's like a vibe I get, and I hate to, because you guys, I mean, I'm kind, but I think you're kinder than I am. I don't trust Corey, and I hate to say that. And I don't know, Corey has just popped up at too many, like the Bieber and the Kanye of it all, and all of this stuff that I really still don't understand Corey's role in this family. Or if it just really is, he's just like a dedicated boyfriend to Chris.
I have to tell you, an interesting perspective that we are having at the moment is that we are still in our Keeping Up with the Kardashians rewatch, and we're currently on season 11, which is when Corey is first introduced to the family. And when you watch it from the beginning, I think it could have the potential to change your perspective a little, because he is really the exact same then as he is now. Like, he is just a man that has been down bad for Kris Jenner since day one.
Wait, is that the season where it's the awkward conversation with Khloe, and like where he's talking about like loving to like get down with Chris?
I don't know if that happened yet. There's a little bit of that.
There's like a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, it's like my dad. I don't want to think of Kris Jenner as a sexual being in any sort of way. So I remember being like, oh no, it's like hearing about your parents making, it's not good. So it's very interesting. So season 7 is coming out. To your point also about Timothée Chalamet, there's no way. I'm curious if we'll even get a tip of the hat to Kylie having a boyfriend. And they, it's like he's out there for holidays. We see little glimpses here and there. And he has a movie coming out in December called Marty Supreme, which is supposed to be like Oscar worthy. So I'm very curious if Kylie will be at red carpet. Didn't Kylie go to the Oscars with him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if you remember last season they do the after credit, like last little confessional. There was one of Kylie calling Chris and asking if she was too like tits out at the Golden Globes, which was the only reference that we had gotten to Timothy. And not that she even said, I was there with my boyfriend, or not that she made reference, but anybody who knows her and knows the family and is up with pop culture knows the only reason Kylie's at the Golden Globes is because she's attending with Timothy. And so I don't think that we'll even get any sort of real mention, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if we got some sort of a nod to an event that she would have been at with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Kardashians still are that thing where they're a huge part of pop culture, but they still manage to branch out with different people in pop culture, whether it be Timothée Chalamet or, Kim when she was going into like I don't know, banking at one point, or I forgot what the company was. It like really they have a huge swath of every sort of entertainment media out there. And you were talking on one of your recent episodes about the Kanye West documentary, which I didn't go see because I'm not going to give him my money, but I think I saw most of it on TikTok, which we were just talking about. And there are scenes with him just wigging out on Kris Jenner, like having, and by the way, this is also mental illness, so I'm not discounting that. And you were trying to find out like how that was approved, what happened here. And in a sense, I said to the audience after watching this, I was like, it just made Kris Jenner and the Kardashians look like really caring people of Kanye. Like that's how, I don't feel like they should have halted the release of that at all, because what I saw was Kris and Kim really trying to show this man that they love him. Folks, if you listen to this show, you know that I am obsessed with Me Undies. I now have like 5 pairs, and they are my favorite underwear I own. So, when that feeling when the air gets crisp, the leaves start to turn and you're finally wearing those oversized sweaters again? Fall is the vibe. But you know what makes it even better? Knowing you've got MeUndies on underneath. Their micromodal fabric is like a warm hug, lightweight, breathable, and perfect for layering season. Now, get this. This is a real treat. MeUndies has just dropped their Halloween collection, and I am obsessed. I've got my eye on the men's long boxer brief with fly because it's glow in the dark and it has like these spooky ghosts all over them. And I was like, yeah, I will celebrate Halloween with MeUndies on. There's a style for everyone, though. And MeUndies has a cut for every butt with over 20 different styles in 100 different colors and prints. There is unmatched comfort with MeUndies, and it's responsibly sourced. They use sustainably sourced materials and work with partners that care for their workers. They have a problem-free philosophy. Not happy with your first pair of undies? It is on MeUndies. With more than 30 million pairs sold and 90,000 5-star reviews, MeUndies are an essential summer must-have for every drawer. So, right now, as a listener of So Bad It's Good, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at MeUndies.com/SoBad and enter promo code SOBAD. That's MeUndies.com/SoBad, promo code SOBAD for up to 50% off. MeUndies, comfort that's made for fall. This show is sponsored by our friends at BetterHelp. Now, when we're looking at therapy, we turn to a lot of places. We turn to our friends. We turn to the group chat. We turn to the local barista. We even sometimes turn to podcasters. Yeah, it's very sad. Even ChatGPT. But we don't need to do this. They're fun to talk to about everyday topics. But when you're looking for help about relationships, anxiety, depression, or any other clinical issue, they might not have all the right answers, and instead, I really suggest getting guidance from a credentialed therapist online with BetterHelp. Now, BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. Now, BetterHelp does this initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and your preferences, and their 10-plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. But if you are not happy with your match, you can switch to a different therapist at any time from their tailored recommendations. This is completely online. You can pause your subscription whenever you need to, and you can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. You don't have to drive anywhere. You can do this in the comfort of your own home. And with over 30,000 therapists, this is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. So find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners, So Bad It's Good listeners, get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/so bad. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/so bad. Folks, I use Mint Mobile, and you should be using it too. So if you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, No BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. Guys, it's amazing, it's inexpensive, and it is the best coverage. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited, that's right, unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring along your phone number, along with all your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and those jaw-dropping monthly bills, the overages, the hidden fees. Plans, like I said, start at $15 a month. So, are you ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/sobad. That's mintmobile.com/sobad. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Yeah. I mean, totally. I think that was the takeaway, or at least from what I've seen. Same like you. I have not gone and seen it. I've only seen what I've seen through clips. I still have a lot of logistical curiosity about how that all went down, because it's not even like this was Kanye releasing it. It technically was an unauthorized release to the videographer was someone who he gave access to.
18-year-old videographer, Nikos, I forgot his last name, but like he was given unlimited access over years to just be there filming Kanye in every situation.
Right. But Kanye has no ownership or creative control over what was ultimately released. What we were saying, and I stand by this, is that I'm sure if you're Kim, again, I don't know what went on legally in terms of this being out there, but if you're Kim, I think probably you'd rather it not be out there in some ways, just because as a parent, just to watch the father of your children screaming at their mother and their grandmother like that, I'm sure isn't great. However, there must be a part of her that feels it's slightly validating for the public to see, just what she had to deal with for so long.
Yeah. Julie, do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, something that I was really thinking about during those clips of Kanye is that there was a scene in a Kardashian season when she's talking about the divorce, and she says to the family, like, I am so sorry. I will never let anybody treat you guys like that again. And I remember at the time being like, what does that mean? What does that look like for Kanye to be treating her family in such a way that she would then have to apologize to them for it? It was like, with everything we knew about Kanye, it was still really hard to like picture what exactly that would have meant. And so it was like everything clicked when you saw the scenes from this documentary. And I think for her, it's validating to have the world see what she saw, but also not just see what she was going through, also how hard she tried to make this work. And I think for her, the conversation we have often is like, it's really difficult to walk away from something or walk away from someone when you know them as a completely different version. And when they're dealing with mental illness and they're dealing with a lot of things, you kind of hold on to this hope of like, well, they'll get better or they'll get the help they need and it can go back to what it was. And I think for her, it just took so long to get to the place of like, wow, he is never going to be the person that I fell in love with again. And I think it's hard to accept that, somebody you knew and loved and had children with is not going to get back to that place, because you will always feel like it's somewhere deep inside them.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's why I think that it's really fascinating to think about. No matter how much worth they accumulate, you still are in those situations, really intense situations that, I think are so highly relatable to so many people who have dealt with mental illness or even just the loss of love. These are really, really real situations. The final thing in this trailer that stood out to me was that Kim says she found out somebody close to them put a hit out on her life. And this is just like a little trailer. And so at first I was like, wait, what is this? Like, is this like a prank? What is going on? Like, and my first thought was, well, that sounds like Kanye to me, which is a horrible first thought. But like, do you guys have any information about, because I had never seen that in any other media up until that trailer.
No, I don't have any information. I have no idea of what that is. I'm always really hesitant with the trailers. It's the same thing with Housewives, right? It's like you get one moment and who knows what that's going to be. I really don't know. But it did what it needed to do, in that I am absolutely fucking seated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will use you trying to end my life and I will use it for ratings gold. But I'm
Right.
really curious about the story because that's like beyond the pale. Like that. And that's
Yeah.
sometimes with pop culture, I get scared. Like we get so desensitized to things that should be so horrifying that it stops everything. Because to
Right.
me, I'm like, wait, somebody close to Kim put a hit out of like stop the presses. Like that needs to be the number one story.
Right. We're like, Larsa?
Oh my God, Larsa Pippen?
That is
Julie
so
doesn't watch a lot of
funny.
Bravo, you guys, but I think she understands. Larsa's still kicking on Real Housewives of Miami, you guys, and we still have never really known the full story of how she fell out with the Kardashians, because at one point she was on the TV show. I think it has something to do with Kanye, but I'm not for certain.
I mean, it's partially Kanye. It's also partially when everything was going down with Tristan and Khloe, there's that, famous video of Larsa talking to TMZ about it. And Kim was essentially like, we're not even saying anything. Why are you kind of using this for clout? I think that they didn't like the way that she was moving.
Yeah,
Just generally speaking.
I don't like the way Larsa moves on Miami. So I'm with the Kardashians on this one.
But don't you find her, just on the topic of her on Miami, it's like, I'm not a fan, but also I can't look away. I think she is such an excellent reality character.
See, I mean, well, character is the key word there. Is like, I understand that completely, but I was talking to the audience, I think on Friday, where I was just like, I was thinking about casting next season, and I was like, I keep feeling like I invest in Larsa and I get diminishing returns because she's never really going to open up in a way that is going to make me understand any of how she moves. And sometimes you don't need to do that. Like Lisa Barlow on Salt Lake City, one of my favorite reality show characters of all time, but there is like 0 times that I will ever agree with her, like in like a realistic way, but I love her. And I feel like she puts on, I mean, that's the life of a showgirl right there is Lisa Barlow. But Larsa will just sit there in scenes and pretty much be mute and just kind of be like, well, I'm mad at this, I'm mad at that. And I want something deeper. Like I want to hear about your pain with Marcus Jordan and the split. I want to hear that. And we never get that from Larsa. And I find it interesting if you compare it to like early seasons of Miami when she looked completely different and moved completely different. I just want more. Is that bad?
No, it's totally fair. I mean, listen, bottom line, not everyone's an Alexia. You know what I mean? We're not going to get that from everyone.
Alexia's, Julie, I got to tell you, we got to get you on board Bravo full time at some point. Like, I feel like you're missing out.
I know it is a huge gap in my knowledge, although I will say I keep up enough to know enough what's going on. Larsa, I've always kept up with. And what I was going to say on the order of Larsa is that even though I don't watch Miami religiously, sometimes when I are together, we'll watch it. But the way that I feel about Larsa is that I think that Larsa could sit you down and explain to you exactly from her point of view why she did any given thing, why she said any given thing, and you still would leave that conversation being like, she gave me everything, and I personally, in the way that I live my life, will never be able to comprehend a person who lives their life like that. Like, Larsa is her own being.
But isn't that how reality TV in general is set up? It's all of these people that are out there doing these things that we never could. And it's not that I'm trying to, well, I guess I do a whole show glorifying them, but it's like they're gladiators in like latex dresses where they're going into the fray. I would never do this. You guys are protective of your image. I mean, I give up at this point, whatever anybody wants to do with my image, but they are like fully out there doing the wildest things. In fact, Real Housewives of Miami, the reunion aired this week, you guys. And the big revelation, Julie, so you know, is that there's a
I know we were talking about this.
Adriana and there's a character named Julia. And they were besties, like really besties for like the last couple of seasons. And this season, not so much. It really went, and something was up. And then at the very last minute of the first part of the reunion, Julia was like, Andy, can I speak for a second, please? I can tell you why. This is a horrible Indian accent for some reason for Julia. But she says that her and Adriana hooked up while they were in the Hamptons. And everybody had these, like Andy was caught off guard. I mean, the reaction shots were amazing. And it was a perfect tease for, part 2 of the reunion. And we saw some clips, and the clips were Lisa Hochstein going, are you guys scissoring? Are you guys scissoring like this? And Adriana was like, no. And then Julia walking with Andy saying it was once in the Hamptons and they fooled around at the Versace mansion once, which I was like, great. I'm glad we got Versace into this. Emma, as somebody that does watch all of these shows, what was your reaction to this?
Oh, I was shook to my core, shook to my core. However, it makes total sense
Yes,
because
100%.
don't you, and I don't just mean because there was obviously a flirtation that existed there, and there always was some jealousy that Adriana felt towards Julia that felt a little bit more than platonic. So already baseline, I would believe that to be true. But based on this season, it felt like whatever was going on with them was more than just your typical friend feud. It was deeper. And so
Yep.
when she said that, I was like, this is actually so illuminating.
Yes, it like fills in all of the blanks because they were the type of friends that, it just didn't make sense. Like those falling out, you have to have something big happen for a falling out. So there is no doubt in my mind this happened. And also, I think a lot of people were going, well, how dare she out Adriana? And I don't know. Maybe I'm warped in some way. Yes, outing people is bad. But for some reason, I mean, first off, I don't think there's anything to be shamed about being bisexual, gay, heterosexual. Well, maybe a little shame in heterosexuality. But other than that, I don't like, I'm like, hey, man, like that's not the two women hooking up part wasn't the thing that shocked me. It was just the shock that they were actually revealing it. Like finally we get some actual truth on this show, but it makes complete sense. I'm just wondering how much they'll fill in the blanks on part 2.
I know because again, this is, who knows based on the trailer, but from what we saw, it seemed like Adriana was kind of not necessarily fully denying it, but their stories appear to be different. And so I need them to really honestly take us through exactly what went down. That's what I really need.
But Julie, just so you know, Julia comes off to me as a character that is very flirtatious with seems like everybody. And there's always like a rumor she made out with some guy or she made out with, like, if you remember seasons prior. So like, and listen, I make harsh judgments on these people. I'm sure they're fun to hang out with in real life. But Julia, I don't like the cut of her jib. I don't trust her. I think there's something. Julia has upset me this season. I finally was like, with the glass throwing. And then they flash back to a scene from last season, which we didn't get to see, where she broke a chair in a scene. And I was like, why didn't this footage get aired? It's fantastic footage.
I felt that way also. Isn't it so frustrating, not just on Miami, on any reunion, when they'll give us unseen footage and it feels like they're doing us such a disservice by not showing it at the time. Yeah. It's like, I'm grateful for this now. And also, where was it a year ago? Like, I needed this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys dipped into Love Island ever, but like the only time when I was like editing is an art is that they aired like unedited footage like from 2 seasons ago of Love Island USA. And it was so boring that I was like, okay, I do appreciate editing.
Right.
Like, sometimes I'm like, I want all of it. And then I'm like, I'm bored to tears. But yeah, they'll show these scenes where I'm like, how did that not make the final cut? So anyways, that is going to be part 2 this week, which I think compared to OC this season, I think Miami is crushing OC in every which way. And I can't believe more people do not watch Miami, or it feels like not enough people are watching. Also, Julie, why have you not watched Succession? I know this is like a long time coming now, but like you admitted on an episode recently that you have not watched one episode of Succession.
No, I actually watched the first season of Succession and then, but okay, so something that's really important is that I used to be the world's best TV watcher. Like Bravo was always a gap for me, but everything else, like I was so up to date on. And then I'm going to blame TikTok a little bit, but I think some of the onus is also on me. My attention span took a major hit and it was very difficult for me to keep up with certain TV shows, stay with certain TV shows. When a season ended, it was like I had forgotten every single thing that had happened. So it was hard for me to get back into it. But I've been trying to improve a little bit on it. But then even now, like I started Hunting Wives and I made it 3 episodes, loved it, and then never pressed play on it again. So it's a little bit of a gap for me.
I picked up a physical copy of a book this weekend and I got like 3 pages in and I was like, well, let's see what's going on TikTok. I was like, I used to read, like now I listen to audiobooks nonstop, but I used to physically read like actual books. And now I will just want to get back to TikTok. It's like, it's really sick.
It's sad. I read pretty well. My reading took a little bit of a hit this year, but typically I can get into a book much better than I can a TV show recently.
It's like lifting weights. I've got to get back to the gym of reading.
I'll send you some recs because when you get a good one, that's it's addicting. Yeah, 100%.
So, Taylor Swift released her, I don't know if you guys, this is new news to you, everybody, I'm sure. Taylor Swift released a new album. It's called The Life of a Showgirl. And I have listened to it only one time. I do like to sit with things before I give, the only thing I think it's good to give snap judgments is reality television. I think that's warranted. But sometimes when people put a lot of work into things, I like to see how it sits. I will say on the first listen, I was like, okay, I didn't think it was horrible. It felt a lot like Midnight's to me. And my tendencies to more like sad bastard music. So I liked Folklore. That was my favorite Taylor Swift album. You guys aren't huge Swifties, but I bring this up because I was really interested in the release of this album, the selling of this album, and that day one, through pre-orders, it had already sold 2.7 million units, which in this day and age where everybody is streaming, that is unheard of. And by the end of the 7 days, it is expected to beat Adele's 25, the album 25, 3.4 million units in 7 days. It is expected to beat that because that was just day one. And then she had like 600,000 more. And she keeps releasing. She just released 4 new iterations of this album yesterday with 2 bonus tracks, acoustic on each one. And I feel like, 2.7 million units, but it's like 50 kids that have bought like a billion different versions of this album. I bought one album like a normal person, and then she released like 20 more afterwards. What is your take on, she truly is a juggernaut. There's no denying it. And that to me, aside from the music, is fascinating. I got in trouble for calling her a capitalist a long time ago. And I didn't say that as a slight to her. I just said, if you are this invested in this many different versions and all of the things that come along with being a Taylor Swift fan, there's an element of capitalism in there. And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. But talking about recession indicators, I sometimes feel this album upon first listen, not that she's ever been political, and I'm not suggesting she ever be political, is that I think we, the audience, might be in a different moment, or a lot of the audience, than the music that I heard. Because the music was fun. To your point, I heard a lot of TikTok bops in there. I'm like, oh, I bet they'll use this sound on TikTok. I bet, what is your thought? And you're not Swifties, hardcore Swifties, but what was your thought in what you've heard or even about the release of the album?
I mean, okay, like you said, let me preface by saying, no, we are not hardcore Swifties. I think for us on album release day, the best thing was just to be on Twitter and just observe what the Swifties were saying. We're much better observers in those types of moments than we are commentators, because we've never been in so deep on her music. That being said, I was kind of like, I don't know, some of these are a bop. Like, sure, I'll listen to Opalite. I mean, it's like, okay. I think something very important clarification is that we watched the New Heights episode, obviously, with her and Travis, where she announced the album, where we found out that later that day is when he actually proposed to her, and while they were recording the podcast is when he was setting up. And so I actually think I went into this album just being a little bit more invested than I normally would be, just because I was so invested in that podcast episode. Like when I tell you that I hung on to every single word, and knowing that so much of it was about him was like, that's the part of it that I feel invested about. So then when I see everyone's like, I don't know if shaming is the right word, but whatever, coming for her for Wood, I'm like, yeah, she's like fucking Travis Kelce, and it's amazing.
Guys, there's a song called Wood where, think of the title, obviously, and this dude's a strapping quarterback, and it looks like, I hate to break it to everybody, they're having premarital sex, it sounds like, just from the album.
Right, but to me, I'm like, yeah, sing about it. Why the hell not? I don't know. I guess my take, which is not the common one, is like, it's just not that deep. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. That's it exactly. This album is not that deep. And so when you have the release strategy you did, I thought it made it sound like this is the second coming. Like, oh my God, you were about to get rocked off your ass. And especially when you work with Max Martin and Shellback, 2 of the biggest Swedish music pop producers ever. I think a lot of people might have been expecting like a 1989, and who knows, this really might grow on people. Like I said, it's really hard to judge somebody a couple of days in. Julie, were you excited to hear Taylor Swift is having sex? Was that big for you?
Yeah, I was thrilled. I I'm thrilled for her. It's so funny, so funny going through Twitter on album release day because, like Em said, like it's interesting to absorb the Swifties. It's interesting to absorb it from a pop culture standpoint as a whole. And I think that one of our biggest takeaways with Taylor over the years has been, and this applies to so many different celebrities. It's how I feel about the Kardashians. It's how I feel about, anybody who's really coming on the scene in pop music, the Sabrina Carpenters, the Chappell Roans of the world. Like, there are certain fixtures of pop culture and certain fixtures of the moment that are going to make their way into your orbit no matter what.
Yeah.
If you have social media,
Undeniable.
if you are paying attention, they are going to be there. And so I think just observing the way that people talked about this album, the lead up to the album, the aftermath of the album, their opinions, their letdowns, their surprises, their disappointments, their joy around it, like, just from a pop culture standpoint, for me, that's my favorite thing, because something that Taylor Swift has done, whether you love her, don't love her, die for her, anything that she does or says or puts out is automatically going to make its way into the pop culture history books. And specifically for me, anytime anything happens in pop culture, my favorite thing is the camaraderie around it and the way that we talk about things. And so I think, to watch Taylor Swift release an album and not just have music out there, but also control the entire cultural conversation for at least 24 hours and beyond, to me, that is like the most fun that you could have.
Well, you used the right word, camaraderie, but I feel like in this moment in 2025, camaraderie is very hard to come by. I feel like we are pitted against each other, whether it be in the political system or even the pop culture system. Like, we are reminded of, like, you love it or you hate it, and there's no in between. And I find that sometimes hard when you try to live in the in between, or try to be like, well, a lot of time was spent on this. Let's see what this means and what that means. And to your point, the exciting thing is discovering music. And if these conversations can lead kids, especially, to other music, like I heard, the Father Figure song has interpolation of George Michael, even though it's really hard for me to hear the interpolation, which is taking elements of the music and making it a new thing. George Michael is credited, and he was like one of my favorite pop stars growing up. So I love that. And I want people to I want a whole new generation of kids to discover his music. There was one song, it sounded like a little bit of I Want You Back by the Jackson 5, I heard. And then there was one song I'm trying to remember. I heard
Cool
like
by the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I heard that, but
Yeah.
also I heard Where Is My Mind by the Pixies, Beverly Hills by Weezer, and Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus. And those are like kind of three more alternative tracks, but I heard that in this one particular song, and I want kids to discover that kind of music as well. And so if these conversations can lead to that kind of stuff, that's the exciting part for me, because Taylor, obviously a fan of music. I hope she pushes more people to all different styles of music, kind of like Beyonce does.
Yeah. I mean, I think also, just to go back to your point about the camaraderie, like, there are certain things that happen where opinions are just so split and hostile that there's no camaraderie in the fact that we're talking about the same subject. But I think that can be the beauty of pop culture sometimes, is that because it's not that deep usually, and because it's not that serious usually, we can disagree on things or have a lot of different discourse about it, but like there is still the camaraderie in the fact that we're all talking about it. I think about Love Island when I think about that, because I think to be able to have experienced that in real time, to watch the episodes, for me, every single night, the best part about it was going on and seeing what Twitter was saying. I mean, I tried to watch season 6 of Love Island and I was so unbelievably entertained by it, but there was an absence I was feeling because I couldn't talk about it with anybody. Everybody had already previously watched it. And so
because you
I was
watched it after the point. After the
right.
fact.
And exactly. And so when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this is great, but like it feels incomplete to me. And so, even this season of Love Island, everybody was all over. We had Huda fans, we had people who couldn't stand her, we had Nicolandria like stands like Em and I who were willing to like go to the bat for them, and other people who
They faked the
weren't
moon
buying
landing
it.
and they faked Nicolandria.
Right. And exactly. But like still, even when we're disagreeing, like there is so much camaraderie in us coming on every single week and talking about it, whether we're on the same side of the aisle or not. And that is my favorite thing in pop culture. That is like what Em and I live for in terms of it. I think it's the only reason any of us can have a podcast, because like if we all agreed on everything pop culture, what is there left to say?
Well, I was getting way too, and I wasn't even stoned. I was getting way too deep with my thoughts this weekend where I was like, am I ruining pop culture? Are people like me ruining pop culture where I am on a show every day talking about these things? Am I making it even more? Am I making it worthless? Like, sometimes I don't know. I got really way too deep in my thoughts. I was like,
No.
should I stop? I mean, am I helping things or am I hurting
Definitely
things?
don't stop.
First of all, definitely don't stop. Second of all, one of my favorite things about you is like the seriousness with which you treat all of these things. It makes both of us feel so seen of like, here's someone else that wants to have legitimately like serious analysis on what can be considered objectively stupid things. To
And
me,
by the way, we can have a good time doing it. I can still be silly. I can still do all those things. But, I figure like if we're told to listen to our instincts and what we're drawn to, if these things that we're drawn to, they've got to have some sort of deeper meaning. And sometimes it's okay if it doesn't, but a lot of the times they do, even to our point earlier about Kanye and mental health and, the scenes with Kris Jenner. I mean, that to me is revelatory. No matter how you feel about Kanye West in this moment, there is something so much deeper in those things. And that's why I find it fascinating. The only thing with Love Island, though, as an older man, I want to believe in the fairy tale of love. And I think Love Island, as this past season, not the season before, it felt like they were romancing social media more than each other. Is that they were monoliths, entities that were going to be fine regardless of if they wound up in a couple. And so my thought was like, I want it to be where people are all in on love. And I think in this day and age, that's really hard because like we all said here, at the end of the day, we're all in on TikTok. That's our communal space and our love. And so this season of Love Island, in some ways, I don't know, just it kind of hammered that point home a little bit to me. Is that crazy?
no, it's not crazy. I mean, yeah, right. It's like the ace screen of it all, right? Like the fact that no matter what from this show comes newfound fame, which then comes TikTok followers, which then come brand deals, and there's a pipeline that exists and it's impossible to ignore. That being said, I think sometimes you have to just like suspend reality when watching it. I guess that's what we do.
Yeah.
Like
No, I mean, I still got into it, but just like, I think the season before, I got into it even more. Like, for some
Mhm.
reason, it was more believable. And I think that was the season that it really popped off in terms of the USA iteration.
Definitely.
So, like, they didn't expect it to be as big. Like, remember when, I'm blanking on her name now, but she thought the audience hated her. And it turns out she was like so beloved. And I think this season was cast knowing the fame that they got last season. So they already knew that they were coming into, I'm going to be a brand after this. That was the vibe I felt sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think also that's why people were such Nicolandria skeptics, because I think everybody kind of watched this season with a little bit of a lens of knowing what, going off of the last season, this cast could be. I mean,
Wait,
I think it was
to be clear though,
no,
when
I'm gonna,
she says everybody, she does not mean us. Let that
no,
be
don't worry,
known.
I'm getting there. Don't worry, I'm getting there. I promise I'm getting there.
Wow.
Yes, no,
Canceled.
but what I was going to say was that I think for Em and I, we didn't necessarily have that lens. Obviously, we knew how successful the season prior had been, but we weren't in it. We didn't watch
Yeah.
it. We weren't so in on the discourse. And so we were coming into this season pretty fresh. And I think when it came to Nicolandria, why we were so in on it and why so many people were is because it kind of captured exactly what you were talking about in terms of feeling like there was something real in all of this. And I
Yeah.
think because they had that friends to lovers arc and we got to be along for the ride and we were like, wait, they have no idea how we feel at home. Like they're not getting any of that information. And yet we're watching this play out in a way that like almost feels too good to be true. I think if you're a skeptic watching that, you're going, oh, they know exactly how they're reacting at home. They know exactly what people want. If you're not a skeptic, you're going like, wow, what an amazing thing that we are watching happen. And like, what a crazy back and forth for us to be involved in and root for. And so I think everybody comes to reality shows and specifically Love Island with like a little bit of a different lens and a different view. And for some people, it can ruin the experience. And then for some people, I think it's like, I understand that I have it in the back of my mind that they're going to walk out of here and be totally fine. And also like, what a great thing to walk out and have two things be true. You're totally fine. You're going to get brand deals. You're going to be famous no matter what. And you found somebody you love on the show.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's perfectly summed up. Really quick, back to the Taylor Swift album, just in terms of camaraderie. The only camaraderie that it didn't bring was that there is one track that might include a Charlie XCX diss, because Charlie XCX on her album might have had a diss relating to Taylor, and so we're in this East Coast, West Coast thing again. I don't know. Charlie XCX posted, I think, an Instagram today, maybe, where she is back in the studio. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, she's going to be answering Taylor Swift. I listened to the Taylor Swift track and I'm like, God, it's just fun pop music. I mean, I didn't take it as... I wasn't, I don't know. I'm very curious what Charlie XCX does. And then also this weekend, Taylor has a track on her album called Elizabeth Taylor, and Kim Kardashian announced that she has produced an Elizabeth Taylor docuseries set at Fox Nation, which I thought that was amazing to announce that on Friday, the day of the release, because, you know, people have always speculated there's some sort of beef with Kim and Taylor as well. I don't know. Like, I do know that all of this does is just helps both parties involved. It just it drives clicks, downloads, all of that stuff. Am I correct?
Yeah, it can't hurt. We are like I think we view this with truly the least seriousness, at least that I've seen of like, I just do. Like I said earlier, I file it all under it's just not that deep. So yeah, let there potentially be a feud and let that help everyone's numbers. I don't know. To me, it's not that serious.
So Julia, would you be willing to start a feud with me?
No, I would not have a feud with anybody.
What? Come on, Julie, please, from my show to help me. Come on.
If it were to help you, I would do what you needed me to do.
Well, I don't want to pity feud. I don't want a pity feud. I don't want a pity feud.
I just can't imagine what we would feud over.
Well, we could find something. I mean, like, I'm sure there's something we could find. Anyways,
you bring it to me and we'll work it out. We'll come up with something.
I'll have my people talk to your people, but I know
that's my people over there.
You're looking at her.
I know I just found it interesting, those two things. So we'll see. Charlie XCX has 48 hours to respond. So let's see what she says. But I think, this is the kind of funny thing about pop culture. And I guess in a sense, and Julie, sorry about this because you might not know everything, but are Sheena Shea and Lala Kent the Charlie XCX Taylor Swift of Bravo right now? Because they've been going back and forth on social media and their podcasts about their friend rift. And, Julie, I don't think you've kept fully up to date with this, but Emma, are you aware of what's going on?
Well, right. I mean, Sheena feels as though Lala was rather unsupportive given when the book release. Yeah. Okay. I am not as in deep on this at the moment. Honestly, I'm not a religious podcast listener. I've, of course, seen the clips. I understand baseline what's going on. Yes. I think that I find Sheena to be a really very interesting reality television character. Obviously, there's a reason she's been on for so long. All of the things. No, but one of the biggest pieces of criticism towards Sheena, and it's almost a joke at this point, is like, well, it's all about Sheena, right? Like anytime something goes on in the Bravo world, the number one response is, oh, I wonder how this is affecting Sheena, right? Like that's
become in the world too, though.
Right?
Oh, like that's in the lexicon,
yeah,
right. And so.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it's such a thing. And I of course find it hilarious and I understand why it exists. But then when I think about it in terms of like, okay, forget her as a reality star. If you are truly one of her closest friends, like Lala is, they genuinely are close friends. Lala genuinely bought a house next to her. Their kids are friends. Like that must be kind of exhausting, Like I just think it must be kind of exhausting to exist in this friendship where even though the other person can be a really good friend to you, at the end of the day, it kind of is all about them. And so I don't know. I
look at it a little bit differently because I feel like it's more even, because I feel like Lala paints herself as this reliable narrator when she has come off exhausting in a lot of the same environments, whether it be podcasts or the reality show. And she also has this, I don't know her personally, and the times I have met her, she's been awesome. She rewrites history, it's like she'll a couple years goes by and goes, yeah, you know what? I don't know what I was thinking about the Ariana thing. I kind of feel bad now, in retrospect. And she has a habit of doing this, but I feel like they're both, they both exhibit reality show narcissistic traits to some degree. My thought, though, is if you are a real friend to somebody, say, obviously me and Julie are having beef right now. We're choosing to air this out on the podcast, but a real friend, especially if you're in the industry of public, you do that behind closed doors. It's like, hey,
Totally.
Lala's going out there, putting out, a video on Friday saying, oh, Sheena's Sheenaing, which is fine. But then she goes, well, I think what she's talking about was I was in a car and I said, I'll fuck up your whole life. And she said, F you, bitch. And her daughter was right there. So I guess she's the one cussing around her daughter. But I'm like, first off, you said in a private conversation, I'll F up your life. Second off, you are now sharing that conversation with the public. And that to me is wild because, like we said, that does drive clicks, downloads. It helps Lala's podcast, which just rebranded. It helps Sheena's podcast. And so I hope for some kind of Taylor Swift mystery of like, is this all plotted out? Is this something that like eventually will lead to the fourth season of The Valley? Because Sheena's not going to be in it this season, she just announced. I don't know. That's the thing. But it's hard. I think when you're on reality show for this long on both of their sides, you're not thinking like a human anymore, it feels
You're
like.
not. Well, especially for both of them that, they're kind of in this limbo, right? Like VPR is no longer a thing. They're a little bit on the Valley, but not entirely. I think they're figuring out what that looks like. Not to say that they don't have a, success and a lot of monetary success from their other avenues, but to not have that as your baseline, I think is jarring kind of. And so then you become
scary.
obsessed. One of the reasons that they were on for so long and were able to be successful for so long was because of the drama they brought. So then when you don't have this landing place for that, you're going to bring it to your podcast. You're going to bring it to your other streams of income. I mean, you know how we feel about this. The idea of fame is so deeply terrifying that I don't know how any of this, I don't know how you're supposed to maintain such a close friendship like them or anyone in that regard when part of your part of your ability to maintain success is to create drama with these people. Like, what does that look like?
Well, that's why I love the old school celebrity that actually had like an album to plug, or I'm a dancer, I'm a singer, I'm an actor. It's like, no, you are the product. Your drama is the product, or I mean, I don't think I would survive. Julia was saying earlier that like, oh my God, it's, all these people on Twitter like dissecting the album and stuff like that. That on my own work would scare the shit. I wouldn't survive that.
No.
To have that many people dissecting. Now imagine it's your life is the art, or quote unquote art. I was on Shenanigans, not this past week, but the week before. And that was where she was going to announce that Sheena wasn't appearing on The Valley. And then Alex Baskin, the producer of The Valley, came on. And that's where they made the official announcement that Sheena decided not to take the contract that was offered. She had Alex Baskin on to confirm that she wasn't just making it up, but also she went into the Lala thing saying it wasn't just Lala not supporting her book, was that she had told Lala in February about the Brock cheating situation. And she said it was very hush-hush. I'm just telling a handful of close friends. And Lala went and told Jenna, who we saw in this season of The Valley, who had dated Hot Honey Aaron. Julie, you're going to be totally lost here.
I'm actually keeping up, but yeah.
Michelle's ex-boyfriend now. So Lala told Jenna, and it got back to Sheena. See, this is insane. I feel so ashamed just going through this, but that's what it was that Sheena found out Lala went and told people about this thing, this secret, right? That like it was going to come out in her book. Anyways, that's what Sheena got really upset about. But now it's like every week we're just going to have we're going to ping pong between podcasts of them just taking shots at each other.
Right. And then, but again, we're doing it. Like it's working.
Yeah, I am not, guys. I will cover it here so you don't have to. So I will keep you up to date. So don't worry, I got you. But I want peace. Come on. As we start winding down, even though this has gone way too quick, I did want to mention Diddy did get sentenced on Friday to 50 months in prison. I was hoping that it would be longer, but that is what he got. And I do believe he has served close to a year, I believe, in prison already, which I think gets deducted from that. And also through certain programs that are offered in prison, he could be out. He could be out before Jen Shaw at this point from Salt Lake, but it looks like he'll probably serve, I would imagine, 2 to 2.5 years of this sentence. Did you guys have any thoughts, or did you have any thoughts kind of even just the whole trial? Because a lot of the information that came out was horrifying.
It's horrifying. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he is a total monster. I have so much respect for, the victims that came forward. It was a really really disturbing situation. Truly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he wrote a 4-page letter to the judge, you guys, and I'm a changed man, I'm this, I'm that. And, he's had so many court cases through his entire life that there is a pattern there as well. And I'm sorry, but I just don't believe it at all. And I think, sometimes it's a dangerous precedent because it takes a great amount of bravery forward. And I feel like sometimes it doesn't present the best message to victims to actually be able to tell their story. Because why is it, it's like, why is it worth it to tell your story when they're going to have to, some of these people are going to have to fear for their lives in some cases after this.
Yeah, it is a really, really disturbing situation all around. And I don't believe one word that comes out of his mouth. I think the guy is a total bullshit artist. And a really scary guy.
Really scary guy.
Really scary guy.
I will say, just in terms of, victims coming forward and sharing their story, especially Cassie, as we saw, which was the most public one. I think that if you're looking for a silver lining of just like, what was the point of all of this? He only got nailed for a small offense, and he's getting much less prison time than a lot of people feel he deserves. And, a lot of these women are now, and men who testified against him are now putting their lives in danger. And, all you can do is hope that, the correct and necessary security will be put in place, and try to trust that the system will keep anybody who is involved in this safe. But, I think a huge part of this is that even if the outcome isn't what you want, you hope that it inspires people to be able to come forward and tell their story and, see the bravery that they had, and see, it is possible to stand up to even the scariest person, one of the biggest moguls in music who had gotten away for years and years. Because even if prison time isn't the sentence, there are so many people who will never work with him again. He will never have the same power he once had. He will never hold the same influence he once had. And so I think if there's any takeaway for people to have, it's that, like, even if using your voice doesn't get the outcome that, people had maybe hoped for, there is still so much power in being able to do so.
That's a great point. That's an excellent point. We had the season premiere of season 51 of SNL last night, hosted by Bad Bunny, musical guest Doja Cat. I did watch it. It's SNL. It was, had high moments. It had low moments. Bad Bunny did an opening where he poked fun at people being upset about his Super Bowl appearance for the halftime show. Did you guys have any opinion on this, on Bad Bunny being the halftime artist?
I love Bad Bunny.
Julie is like major.
Bad Bunny's like, I'm obsessed with the music, but I am also, he's like one of my top celebrity crushes right now. Like, I'm a big Bad Bunny.
Wait, who else? Wait, who's in your roster of top celebrity crushes right now?
Oh, that's a good question. We always talk about that.
We're in a bit of a Joe Jonas phase.
Oh yeah.
Which is
Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's like
good for us. I mean, look at the he's just been slutty in like the best way ever. And yeah.
The slutty Joe Jonas phase.
No,
amazing.
I do. I think Joe is like kind of the perfect example of a celebrity crush, but also like he's so something that I wish all men could replicate, but won't be able to. It's like the perfect amount of like being a little bit slutty, but not in a cringe way. He understands culture and how to dress and just how to present himself so well that he has very quickly become one of the most attractive celebrities, I think, both in look and personality.
The Joe Bros are such a blind spot for me. It's like, and I see them every day just reading and stuff like that, or going through, my quote unquote work. But I've never been like, he really gets it. He's giving a little slutty, but not too much. I love that you guys really, because I see all the, I didn't even stop to think about how he dresses. And you guys are in on that.
Two things that I want to say. First of all, I'm going to send you a couple of links for you to watch just to kind of understand the vibe that we're talking about. One is with his guitarist on stage, and a few others are just the way he interacts with social media. Second thing I want to say is last summer we were in the Hamptons and he walked into the restaurant that we were eating at and he sat at the table right next to us. And when I tell you there was an aura, which by the way, coming from me, I exclusively am attracted to men above 6 feet. I didn't think I was capable
Yeah,
to
I
be.
thought Ben Affleck was your guy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Beyond so. I mean, my whole life, I've never known attraction under 6'2". And then Joe Jonas sat next to me at Sunset Beach, and I was like, something is
Wait, how tall
happening.
is Joe Jonas?
Like
5'7".
5'7", 5'8". Like,
Oh, wow.
I know. No. It's unheard of. If you know me, you're like, what is going on? And that to me speaks volumes. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Well, back to Bad Bunny. Yeah, back to you guys. You guys need to do a Joe Bros podcast because you really lit up in a way that I mean, both of you. The energy. If I could just bottle this, it would really power me for the next month. Bad Bunny. I see. Like me, I was like, I've listened to the last two albums because I like to listen to everything that's like, at the top, and I like it, I don't speak Spanish yet, but I don't care. I can't even understand half the lyrics that American artists, or he's actually American, but, English born, English speaking artists are saying. So I don't care to that degree. There seems to be a little bit of a kerfluffle around this, and I hope it dies down because Puerto Rico is I just think it is. It's kind of ridiculous to me. It's like most of you guys don't really even watch this. Come on, like it's the halftime show. Get over. It's going to be a big production. There's going to be big guests. Like I wasn't super excited. Who was it last year that they had?
Kendrick.
Oh, Kendrick. No, actually, I was really excited for that. But I've been enough Super Bowls where there have been times I've like, I'm not the biggest Coldplay fan in the world. And I remember the one time they did it. And then I got really excited because Beyonce came out during it and I got excited. Yeah. So I just wish people would be like, let's see what he's got because he's like amazingly talented, obviously.
It's going to be an incredible performance. People just like something to be mad about. He's so hot. He's so fun. He so connects with the audience. And by the way, what is it? 12 minutes? Like we're going to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's 12. It's usually 12. I think who was the artist that fought for like 3 extra minutes recently? But it's usually 12 minutes. It's over in a flash. Last year was the most watched, most viewed Super Bowl halftime show with Kendrick. And so, once again, though, it's all of that. What scares me is that the anger, like Lala and Sheena, it's just driving viewership in a sense. I would just like to drive viewership where we're all happy, and I don't know in this day and age if that's possible, but all you're doing with this is just going to make it more watched, more viewed.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So
whatever gets the job done.
Well, I think Bad Bunny, just a lot of recent performances, he's just exuding such a Joe Jonas sexuality about him, Julie.
Yes.
And you could not be more right.
I wish I could talk to you guys all day. It's already an hour, but we didn't even touch any of Bravo for once because, John Jansen got married. Did you see that?
Oh,
John Jansen
did.
got married to Jesus Jugs, Alexis Bellino, and Tamra mother flippin' Judge was there. They got married on a Friday. Julie, you probably have no thoughts on this, but Emma, quick to end us. What are your thoughts?
I mean, Tamara was just in those comments everywhere. Did you see she was milking this wedding?
No. Well, see, comments by Celebs and comments by Bravo are the perfect accounts to keep up on all of this, you guys. But Tamara's so funny. She complains on the show about not being supported by the women, and then she goes and does this. I'm like, why would you ever expect Shannon Bedore to take you serious as a friend when this is, and you quit every episode now. Stop it.
The quitting, by the way, I know we didn't even talk about last week's OC, which actually I was almost happy because Isabel and I have kind of slowly phased it out of our Bravo recaps. I found this season
a painful watch.
And I love a lot of those women. I love Heather. This specific season of OC, I think, was one of the worst of all time, personally. And when I watched Tamara storm out of her own house and quit, I'm like, you know what? It loses its power. The one time you got one opportunity to quit, and it can be really powerful. You lost me.
And she so desperately wants to come back next season, but I'm like, why? You quit every episode. I don't know why we would. And then she's out there doing a full press tour trying to get Shannon kicked off the show and all these other people. I'm like, you don't even seem to want to be on the show. So why would I ever Anyways, it's obviously infuriating. Julie, what's the one thing you're happy about this week that you're looking forward to in this next week? Can be personal, can be pop culture, whatever.
Oh, that's such a good question that I wasn't expecting. What do we have going on?
You?
What
do we have? Emma's going to tell you.
I love when she does that.
On Saturday, we're all going to my house because my dad, one of my dad's best friends for his bar mitzvah. I'm sorry, I have to. This is a big deal. For his bar mitzvah, which was 61 years ago, they took this iconic photograph of all of the boys at 13 years old holding up like a Playboy magazine. And all of them are still best friends, still alive. And we're inviting them all over. We're having a 61st bar mitzvah anniversary. I hired a photographer. I got the exact Playboy cover. They're all wearing suits. And we are retaking the iconic photograph. And obviously my friends are coming because they're all obsessed with my dad and his friends. And
that sounds amazing. Well, okay. First off, I mean, please say you looked into getting the cover girl from the Playboy magazine to appear 61 years later. I mean,
that's a good question. Who is on the cover?
I don't know. I got to find that out.
That is God, you make me feel so. I got to start doing more things for my dad. Like, that's amazing. Wow. Okay, so I'll see you guys there this Saturday. I can't wait to show up. I'm going to dress nicely. It's going to be great. That's so heartwarming and beautiful and also pop culture related. I love that.
We'll see you in Jersey.
You guys, so obviously the Instagram account, their podcast is excellent. Now, Isabel's not here right now, but they do cover Bravo. Julie and Emma cover general pop culture and Kardashians. Isabel comes in for the Bravo, and I've never been able to have Isabel on this show, so I got to get her on this show at some point, just to do a whole Bravo episode. But, you guys are the best out there, and just thank you. I'm so thrilled for always anything that you're doing, and thank you for spending this time with us today and kicking off our week. I appreciate it. Oh, wait, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about?
No, I just want to say the feeling is so mutual. We know that we adore you, and we just appreciate you, and thank you for always being so kind and supportive to us.
Well, I'm lucky to know both of you. Thank you to spend this time with us on this Sunday night, and I'll hopefully talk to you soon. Hopefully I'll see you at BravoCon. We got to hang.
Oh my God!
I see you Saturday.
And see you Saturday.
Yeah. I can't wait to meet your. By the way, you guys, her dad is awesome. I love seeing her dad on her Instagram. Like, he cheers me up all the time. He's always smiling and stuff, and I'm like, I gotta remember to smile more. Anyways, you guys, comments by Celebs, Julie and Emma. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. We love you.